$1,000. It's just, oh, it's a killer. All right. Well, then I will call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Mochler.
Here.
Graylobe.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Teasy.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Any conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Are there any additions?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any visitors to be heard? Okay, then the first item on the agenda is ditch board. So is there a motion to go into ditch board?
So moved. Second.
It's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Travis.
We're in ditch board. We have a bill for the final, should be the final bill for the Clay Creek ditch clean out. In the amount of $83,704.51. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so is this check going to Northern Escrow or?
Yes.
Yes.
Same way we.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, just to clarify that.
Any further discussion?
I see we did $450 of liquidated damages, so
Yep.
that was, my
Okay.
guess is that was a negotiated thing and
That must have been on their part, because I had told Brad not to, but
yeah. No, I think it's
Mhm.
probably appropriate to have a little something so we have a precedent, but it's
Yep.
small enough that it's
Very minimal portion of the total. Yeah.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
well, I
And
should.
Yeah, it looks like they signed off on it
Brad's
too.
on? No?
Brad's not on. This is Adam with Olteg. Brad did pass along. We did charge the 1 day to cover the cost of putting together the final CCO here is what that was for.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
and that's what we talked about, if there was any additional engineering costs because of the delay that we. My recollection is that we decided we could assess that, but
Yep.
Well, we limited to
that
that.
sounds appropriate to me.
I did have one question though. Is the seating done?
I believe everything is done according to Brad.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else? Anything further?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Entertain a motion to come out of ditch board.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're in regular session. Betty?
All right. So Rod Polly, we've got the bid award for chip sealing. It's the bids we opened last week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Adam, I believe.
I'll turn it over to you, Adam.
I was not briefed on this one. So I apologize. I know Brad, I think everything was sent down and accepted, is what I had heard, but, and I think the
Well,
bid packages were in the
yeah,
mail.
You have the bid tabulation, there's quite a bit of difference between the two and all the numbers
Oh.
turned out, so.
This is the total on this is the engineer's estimate. Is that right?
No, the engineer's
No.
estimate is the first column. The second column is what Aztec actually bid.
Mhm.
So they're a little under the engineers, two at the bottom of the page.
Yep.
If all I think, according to mine, it's a 2-page sheet.
It's just, I noted that the contract price for the contract, I thought that was the number that I had recorded for the
Yeah, it's
engineer's estimate.
$1,292,841.74.
That was the engineer's estimate.
Yeah,
And Aztec's price is $1,199,554.64. And that's what we're accepting.
okay.
Then, but what Betty referenced is in the actual contract.
That's what I'm seeing, yeah.
Yep.
That, the one she's supposed to sign says one,
The notice of
1,292,000.
award,
292.
yeah, that's what I was wondering,
Yeah, that's not correct.
by about a,
But we can approve it with the correct amount
Correct.
and we
Yeah.
just get a reprinted one, is that?
I figured Brad or Jesse would be on this morning, but
I'd say move to approve with that correction.
which is,
Actual total cost from Aztec of $1,199,554.64.
I'll second that. Yep.
yeah, I don't have the contract, so I guess I didn't see that.
And that might be correct in the actual contract that Brad mailed down, so.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Could you repeat that?
The documents that Brad mailed, it more than likely is correct in there. Might just be wrong on that sheet, but
Well, which one do you have, Betty, to sign?
Well, so the one to sign, and I'm gonna double check here what Carrie gave me, but the one that I saw and noted down was the 1.2 million. Okay, let's see.
1.29.
Yep, that's what's in the contract. And that's what, so
1.2.
the 1.2 million is what's in the contract.
1.29.
1.29 to 841 and 74 cents.
So we don't want that one signed.
And so are you sure about those bids?
Yeah, that's what they were last.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I got the
Yeah.
bid tabulation.
Okay,
Sheet here,
Yep.
that's why.
Cause the number that they put in is the engineer's estimate.
yep, yep. So what I would do,
That's not-
I will cross this out before I sign it and put in,
They'll have to print you a new one.
Yeah,
They'll
I
have to
think
print a
we're
new
gonna
one.
wait till
Okay.
next week, 'cause
okay, well then,
I wanna find out why we're paying that much more than what they bid. Why would we pay the engineer's estimate when they put that out at the beginning to bid?
Right.
Mhm.
Well, we're not. We're approving the 1.9 or 1.1,
1.199, yeah.
I think.
not the
what-
1.2.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
it
the
just picked the
contract
wrong,
says-
picked from the wrong column when they
Yep.
Okay,
put
okay,
together the contract.
okay.
So we're going to approve, what is it, Aztec at 1.199?
Right.
199,554.
okay, so we have an amended motion?
Yeah, I think Dick actually
Okay.
moved with the correct amount.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, and I seconded that.
All right, so any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right. Anything else, Brett?
I guess just that we're starting our big program, bridge, Ron Yacht's bridge up on 306, or it ain't his bridge, but that's what we call it. They're closing that down to one lane. Today, we're meeting with the contractors and the engineers up there at 11, so they're gonna start the deck rehab today, and it'll probably go till into July, I believe, till they get it done. So,
How wide's that gonna be?
I mean, it stays the same width.
No,
But while they're working till through July.
Oh, there's gonna be a 12-foot width restriction. Not 11, which they usually go, they're going to 12-foot, so. But they're signed, they're all laying in the ditch, they're probably being put up as we speak. So, and by the time, I believe it's PCI is the company that got that, so they weren't gonna be there till about 11, so it'll be signed before that, but yeah, it is a 12-foot
12-foot.
width restriction.
How long is it gonna take?
Till the end of
Probably
July.
till, toward the end of July, but I'm not Well, I guess I do have that. on my
Yeah.
ballot. No, I don't have that timeline, but part of the July was to fix two piling. They have metal pipes on the outside of them protecting the concrete
Right.
and due to trees and ice hitting them, there's two bare spots of concrete that we gotta get fixed. And of course, we gotta wait for the water to go down. So that's included in that timeline, but
Yeah.
it's pretty intensive.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, the
Process.
main thing is, how long the width restriction will be up for
Yeah, well,
public or not.
all the time, cause they
Full
work,
works, yeah.
only work on one side of the road at a time, so. And we're gonna put a sign up at Highway 29 and 306 when they come down there, so they know. We don't have width restriction, but we'll put a one lane sign, and they got it posted at Hub City and Highway 19, so. And I believe they put up a stop sign there too, so kind of on your honor at night. I don't know if it's a red light. Did you look, Larry? In the plans, whether it's actual just a stop sign or a red light with a stop sign, I don't know.
Yeah,
We can put a red light on it easy enough
yeah.
if we need to, but
That'd be a good idea.
a lot of traffic there.
Mhm.
A lot of signs though too, so. But, yep, that's it.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
So Scott, we got some elevator numbers. Well, we've got the bid.
The bid,
Yeah,
yep,
the bid.
bid description.
Have bid on the elevator.
Yeah, it was in our package. I don't know if people have.
Yeah, we have the RFP for that request for proposal or
Mhm.
or bid done and approved by Michael Smith, so. We're good and ready to go on that, to
Great.
release that. I can't remember, if I talked to the commissioners last week or not about, possibility or potential of rolling this into the courtroom security project, making it one project. After I mentioned, I got to thinking about it, might be hiccups to that. I mean, if we're expecting people to go up on third floor and demo out and construct and take away their elevator. So, but I did talk to L&L that was just here on a project and asked him about it. He said that how he would approach it would be to try to get that elevator down in the beginning. When you're the subs and the contractors know, hey, you're heading up the third floor, you're gonna be demoing out for 4 weeks. Hopefully them two timeframes work and come together. Of course, there's always a lot of moving parts to get to come together. And one of them being timeframes as far as getting material in for that elevator. I don't know what kind of lead times they need on some of that stuff they're gonna need for that project. I know that one gal from Coney said that it was get kind of lengthy on some of the stuff. So I guess if we want to put in at that project, as we've talked about, sooner than later. I haven't heard back from Dick Strauss on the request for bid or request for proposal for a general contract for that position. I haven't seen that RFP yet, so I'm not sure where he's at. But that's just one of our options. That when I talked to L&L, when they were here, their project manager looked at that courtroom security project with pretty much a fine tooth comb to the point that he's actually getting numbers from subs and stuff to bring it together to bring it together. So he thinks that that's a 3 to 4 month project. So if you put this in on top of it, you're looking at 4 to 5 month project, your third floor out of commission for almost half a year. So, kind of with that said, I was gonna have the bigger conversation with Judge Burns, which I haven't had yet until I talked to you guys, they were better off leaving them as 2 separate projects and giving a year break in there. So
It sounds like the elevator needs to be done first.
And we haven't had any serious mechanical problems with the elevator. I'm just letting everybody know that now. It's usually been adjustments or relays. We haven't had like a hydraulic pump or motor or anything like that go down. So I'm not advocating we push the envelope, but I used to ride bulls, so I don't know. I get take a few risks here and there. So I don't know. There's all the cards on the table, I guess. We need to decide what we think is the best approach. Like Travis said, do we do the elevator first? And then bring the other project in or swap them around, you know, I guess worst case scenario, our old elevator goes down in the middle of that project, but so
Yeah, I
that's where we are.
I just worry about the age of the the equipment in the elevator. And and that's a big liability for us
Right.
if that goes wrong, and it's a liability in several different ways. I
Right.
mean, it's where the disaster could happen on the one hand, and on the other hand, you know, we could be ADA non-compliant for a period of months.
Right.
So
It'd be a pretty rare occurrence that anything would go bad that would be down for months, I guess.
I would think so, but I don't
If
know.
they're ordering
Everything's just,
parts and stuff.
Yeah.
In the interim,
Just hate to spend more money on the old elevator,
mhm.
yeah,
because if it breaks, we gotta fix it.
that's right, that's right.
Otherwise we get a new one, which we're gonna do anyway, so.
so, you know, if we green light the elevator to get that done before this other project starts, that might push this project back a year. So everybody's aware of that. Instead of 2025 might be 2026.
Which might be fine, because then they can work on the safety center and that at the same time.
Yeah.
That sounds like probably going elevator first is probably wise.
Yep. The only thing with this bid though is we don't have time for it to be for the 28th, do we, Carrie? With advertising?
Probably not. No, we'd have to bump it back to the 4th.
And then the bids need to be delivered to you, not to the commissioners. Because the first line says delivered, received by the county commission. So it
I
has to
think
get,
down below that, it says delivered to the auditor's office, though.
it does?
I think so. But I use the same bid notice we've used in the past,
I thought
or the same, you know, first couple paragraphs.
All right, so
I don't,
maybe talk to Judge Byrne and see where she is. Or will we have an issue with that grant? If we push
There's
it?
no time frame on the grant.
Okay,
It's- There was, and when I checked on that, whatever, when
okay,
we first got it, that was one of the first things I was asked to check on a time frame. There is no time frame on it.
okay.
Attention to Carrie Crum,
Yeah.
and then the
Oh,
email
there it is.
address is Carrie Crum's. Yep.
I can reach back out to, can't remember the gentleman's name.
Top, so they're gonna be received by us.
That was on that board, or the, I can't remember his title. Maybe explain to them why we haven't approached that project yet.
Mhm.
Let them know why. So
Yeah.
they might like to know why it's still hanging out there and we haven't used it yet.
I mean,
So-
it'd just be wise to make sure we're not losing a lot of
Right.
money as a result of waiting.
Okay.
All right.
So I know I put down a project completion date of January 2025 on there. Is everybody still comfortable with that?
Mhm.
I mean, that's what we'll shoot for anyway.
Yep.
I guess when we start getting the bids, we'll know if that's a fantasy or not, or a reality. So, okay.
That's good.
is that too short of a time frame? I mean, this is gonna be winter work.
Could possibly be, I
Or
guess,
maybe elevator companies, I guess they don't.
you
they're
know,
not
we
working
could
outside
put
yet.
on there,
That's right.
we may not even need that on there, or we could just project completion date to be determined. you know, who we're working with and stuff, you know.
Well, we'll
I
try
know
to-
maybe,
January.
maybe that did. Do we have to take a little bit? Can that be a determining factor in our decision that held company A is able to get it done sooner than company B, even though they're $500, $5,000 higher, whatever? Is that? or
We just have to take the lowest responsible bid.
Lowest
Right.
response.
So I mean, if it's, and that, there's a lot of interpretation on what responsible bid is. And that's why
Right.
we have those people in the.
I was just gonna say, all right, come on up here.
I've been on both sides of those. Yeah, and yeah, really need to, accept the lowest responsible bid that checks all the boxes.
Right, you gotta make sure it's
That
apples.
it does all of
apples.
the things that are specified in the contract. Project completion date, I think it's kind of important to a contractor in fitting it into a schedule. He could end up charging more or less depending on how it would fit in.
Fit.
You know,
Yeah.
he'll want to bid on it, but he'll bid more if it's going to be conflicting with some of his other work.
Right,
And so it might be, is there any reason that we couldn't back that out to say March 1st? And you've got January 2025, that isn't a day, that's a month.
oh, that's true.
I think it'd be good to have a day. Date certain.
So March 30th of 2025 then, or do you want March 1st?
Let's go to March 1st.
Okay.
They're gonna be,
for tax season.
yeah.
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 All right. Looks good.
The description of work, the scope of work. That verbiage in there, that descriptive is right from what Kone submitted to us in order for me to get the budgetary bid. So I'm comfortable with the verbiage. I talked to them, told them I was stealing it from them. So I'm comfortable with that. So if everybody's, all these other, if their contractors are being honest, you know, we should be okay. It should be.
Yeah.
But like Dick said, if somebody's missing a bullet point, then, and if they're happen to be a little bit, you know, eject button on them.
And
So,
I think it's properly generic enough, you know, there's a lot
right,
of times you'll end up with a company that gives a suggested bid
Mhm.
form. And it clearly gives them an advantage.
right,
And I don't see anything here that does
Right.
anything like that. So this
Okay.
is a more, I think it's appropriate the way you've written.
okay. We'll make the adjustments we need and get it going.
So we just need a motion to set the bid opening for June 4th at
Actually, let's go June 6th. I forgot the 4th is
Election.
election day, so we'll be meeting on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a motion?
motion to open, for bid opening on June 6th at 9:15, Carrie, or what do you want? 9:30?
Let's go 9:30.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to set the bid opening for June 6th at 9:30. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and then we've got the, let's see, it's a AIA contract. It's a G70 or G704 Certificate of Substantial Completion.
No, I don't have that one in front of me. That, yeah, I
is
I
all
read
the-
about it. That was requiring your signature.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I don't know if folks have had a chance to review it. It's pretty extensive, but it does sound like the contractor is saying it's substantially complete.
There was a list of irregularities. Have those all been addressed then?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got one thing hanging here. I don't really know if it's a regular irregularity, but it's something that we pointed out to them and would like to have proved upon, I guess, for aesthetic purposes. But the punch list is done with the exception of there's still some control stuff hanging out to a train that they really can't do and tweak until we get into summer mode, because it's air conditioning related. So they have to run some of the equipment through the paces that they can't do until the outside temperature and humidity reaches a certain point, which is understandable. So other than that, pretty confident everything else is done. I guess the one other thing too, they're recommending the manufacturer Lock and Bar Boilers is recommending that filtration system be put in as some kind of magnetic filtration system to help pull some of that iron out of that water. That has not been done yet. I'm working on it, been working on it with Redlinger. I just felt like let's do it. Let's pay for it out of the project money, but do it separate from the project money so the costs don't go. Cause everybody's has their markup on those deals, so I'll have to call Redlinger and find out the equipment's been ordered. But I haven't heard anything from them yet.
So this is a magnetic removal for getting rid of construction debris, I assume, right?
Well, just the debris that's in the pipes that have been installed since the 90s. Going around the area, all your fan coil units,
Yeah,
that black iron pipe.
usually it's where you do cutting and fitting.
Well,
Your
I'm calling it
retrofit.
magnetic. I might be wording it wrong, but Lock and Bar approves this filtration system
Yeah,
and
okay.
says it needs to be installed. So I have that going on also. But with the exception of those two things, I'd say we're done.
And so you would say that that constitutes substantial completion?
Yeah, I would think
Okay.
so, yeah. Oh, one more thing.
All right.
The longer I sit here. The electrical contractor, part of their contract was to pull a little cabling out of the building. Well, how do you determine the old IT cabling? Well, how do you, with the state offices here and cameras here, how do you determine what to grab hold and start pulling, and what do you leave behind? My thought was on that whole process is, our IT Ericsson Solution has come in and did the hookups within the room. So they've gotten rid of a lot of those, if not all, the horizontal runs in the offices where you'd see cable plugged in here, running to there type. That's all been eliminated. They've cleaned it up real nice. It looks really good. There's some places in corners, like one I think of is in the clerk of court's office. When you look over in that one corner, there's a bundle of blue cables going up with the pipe. That's about the exception that I see out there in the offices. And there might be another one somewhere too, but I just think we might be better off just asking for refund, if you will, on that part of the project, the cost, instead of having them go forward through trying to figure out what they're gonna get and what they're not. Kind of really not at that. They're kind of held up on that whole thing because right now Ericsson Solution is not done with what they were going to do. Because they ran into a couple concerns. They had to reach out to some other companies about different pieces of equipment. Can we unplug them? What's the right way to go about switching this stuff over? So right now, getting the old cabling out is held up by them. So we're not quite there yet, but I just don't know if getting this old cabling out is going to be worth the expense to us. So that'd be my suggestion, just to forego it and get a refund on that part of it.
So this was existing cabling before the project that's now abandoned. And the
Right.
question is, do we actually need to pull it, or can we just leave it abandoned in the walls? Isn't am I getting that right?
Right. And like I said, most of the horizontal runs in the offices is gone, because they put in new county drops, so many per office. And so now all the horizontals disappeared, so it's cleaned up the offices quite a bit, don't you think, Gary? Yeah,
Do you know what the approximate expense is that we had budgeted for that?
I could find out. They could reach out to
Cause
the,
it is pretty nice to clean stuff like that out
Yeah.
for the future, to know that if you're getting in the wall, that the things that are in there are likely, active and not,
Yeah.
you know, not half of it is and half of it isn't, that can add expense and
I could
complexity to a
ask,
future
I could-
project.
I can make a phone call and find out what that cost
Could
is.
also add expense if they're pull stuff that should be pulled.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's, you know,
that's just, that's,
There wasn't a lot of forethought when it got put in, so.
yeah, that's the
Afraid what
concern, you
kind of
know.
octopus is in there.
Is all the new stuff in new races then? or-
Yeah, Solon Raceways, there's one right there. That's
Yeah.
the county raceway there,
So I'm thinking, so there's no old wires.
except for what's running to the state offices and in what might be going to cameras.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking in terms of induction, you know, that,
Mhm.
another place where my storied past comes up. I'm a ham radio operator too. And, and, it's always good practice to get rid of old wiring that runs in the same race or parallel with the new stuff, because you end up inducing currents within it. Can't think of a good reason why one that's disconnected on both ends would be an issue, but you know, we've always thought of that as good practice of getting rid of the old wire where it runs parallel. So,
So it might be worth a phone call. Figure
Yeah,
out.
do some checking
yeah,
into it.
that's the thing to ask Erickson's, I think, to just see if they think that it'd be a good idea to get rid of it where there may be parallel or where they run bundled together, for instance, in some parts.
Yeah, like where they come out of the IT room on
Yeah.
first floor, there's that whole bundle running along that wall.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
the only operational thing that I can think of that would be an issue. Would be if there'd be some induction involved and,
Okay,
I'm probably all wet, probably nothing to worry about, but
Okay.
it springs to mind because of me pulling old cables out when I'm running new antenna wire, that sort of thing.
okay. All right, I'll do some checking in on that.
Right. And then the question today is whether we are willing to authorize the chair to sign the substantial completion document.
Move to approve your signature.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to make sure that I got, that I'm understanding all the documents we have in the packet today correctly. So there was like, from L&L Buildings, there was a punch list on April 14th with
Mhm.
31 items on it. So that was the final punch list after all of the, because there were several reports that were included in here of site visits.
Yeah,
So that 31 items was the last list, and those 31 are done except for what you've discussed already. Is that right?
well, actually, there's one walkthrough after that.
There's another
Yeah, there
walkthrough.
was after that, and there was
Okay.
like 3 or 4 items on there, and they knocked that off.
Okay,
So.
all right.
yeah,
Just
punch
making
list-
sure I understand
punch
where
list
we're
is
at. So,
done,
yep.
Yeah, punch
Okay.
list is done. Yep.
Great.
With the exception of what I've explained, so.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then there's 2 change orders. One of which is a very happy change order.
Mhm.
It's a 2000, it's a change request 13. And it's a $2,000 rebate reimbursement or just,
Reimbursement, Yeah,
reimbursement for work that didn't have to be done. And then the other is change order 12, which is basically to put some gypsum wallboard soffit around to hide the sprinkler system.
yeah, I got a picture of that. See if that better understand.
So where are those located?
One's located at Auditor's office, the other's located at Port Services.
Okay.
And this is what it looks like. That pipe's been painted, so.
Yep.
Anyway, what you're seeing here is this sprinkler line had to continue. And this is the concrete support beam here, so they couldn't go through it, so they have to go under it. It's rather unsightly.
And that's in the auditor's office.
This one's in the auditor's office.
Okay.
Almost similar to it. Port Service.
Was the other one a copper pipe? Was that, or is that different? It's like that too? Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so that one's $4,227.
To
That
get
would-
both of those enclosed.
So Scott, I'm sorry to make you get up again. The pictures we had in here was one that appeared to be that one, but then the other one, that's what I was wondering if it was, is this the one in the court service or not? Or is that something different? Or is it two of these?
It's two of these.
Two of
That's
these.
the court services, that one there, they've insulated it so it blends in with the surround.
Okay, all right. So the two are like pretty much exactly the same.
Correct.
That's how they got the same. Okay, gotcha.
So you need a motion to sign the contract for $4,227?
Yep, and the second one, for the
Reimbursement.
rebate of, 2,000.
I'll make the motion to sign both of those contracts.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
No,
All right,
so,
excellent.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, has everybody had a chance to see vouchers that came in last night?
Move to approve vouchers.
Second.
It's a motion to approve vouchers in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2025 budget and payroll discussion. Ooh, okay.
So it is that time of year again. The department heads are getting ready to put their budgets together for next year and we need some guidance, I guess, regarding payroll especially, but any other items?
You guys willing to take a cut or? what? I mean, what are our options here?
It does look unanimous.
I knew they couldn't throw
kind
that
of
far, so.
had a bit of a, I don't know, a rude awakening, couple weeks ago. Hutchinson County is hiring for deputy auditor and their starting wage is about $2.18 higher than what we are. So then I started looking at the other counties in our district and other similar, population, similar sized counties in the state. And it does look like we are low. I kind of thought we were doing all right, but apparently we are low.
That seemed to be
And,
in that salary study too, right? I think that some of the
yeah.
offices, yours included, was maybe a little low.
yeah, and so, I think that's kind of the.
You
feeling
guys are
that-
doing good according to the salary study, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're one of the few departments, but that has to do with turnover
Yeah.
to a great extent and reviewing salaries and trying to stay with the market. And, just from what I've looked at in the last couple of weeks, it does look like we need to, there are salaries we need to bring up to market in addition to, the usual increment based on cost of living.
I guess what we're kind of looking for is some guidance with that. Well, what should we be trying to figure for cost of living? Should we be trying to raise our, salaries within our offices up to market? Do we hold off on that for, another year? So like, what are your thoughts?
I think that once we've done some work to assess or had an intern do some work to assess like where we're at relative to other counties, relative to the market in the various offices. Based on that, I am interested in considering maybe differential raises so that we are bringing those so that the offices that are behind don't remain behind, so.
So it'd be a position by position assessment.
Yep. So maybe a baseline cost of living increase, but with some space for
Yeah,
some additional.
it would probably involve moving possessions between spots in the matrix, right? Is that what we?
Well, I think, Or we might be talking about changing the, changing base salaries in some cases. I mean, you know,
The
the,
salaries are established within the matrix.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying is that probably just reevaluate how each position presently fits in the matrix and how it should fit in the matrix within the competitive markets.
Mhm. Yep.
Does that sound like what we wanna, how we wanna address this? Cause I think that's the right way to do it myself. And then we'll think about cost of living. adjustments.
That's always the $1 million question. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think if they want to get started on their budgets, because what's CPI?
3%.
yeah.
So I think they better just figure 3% and we'll, just so they can get going, because we've
Yeah.
got till September
To adjust.
yeah. But I think they just start with 3%.
I think that's appropriate.
That answers some of my questions.
do we know yet how much the grand list has increased by?
I think it's gonna be close. We're usually right around 1%. And I think it's gonna be close to that,
Okay.
The what list?
for the growth.
Yeah. So the percentage difference between grand list from last year to this year tells us how much cash, you know, is is available, right, in comparison to last year.
Yeah, it's usually a little over 1.
Yep. And you know, it makes sense to me that if we make these salary adjustments to bring ourselves to market, because I really think losing staff to trained, really good staff to other counties is penny wise and dollar foolish. And
And
that's-
we have such a lean, so just lean offices already, so everybody's doing a lot of work, and I think losing one individual really has even more of an impact than it would in the larger office, so. You know,
Yeah.
the experience each person has is very, very valuable.
So where are we comparing with Union and Yankton and Turner?
Oh, surprisingly, Bonham County was paying higher than we are. Union is close to the same. Turner, I think is a little bit lower, not by much. Yankton was higher.
Yeah, and you can see in the intern study that Turner being lower just carries across the board. And then she also looked at a couple of Lake County and another Plymouth County. You know, I mean, we're not dead low because that's Turner. But we're on the low end for a lot of positions.
But on that study though, or that what the intern did, I was seeing a lot of those numbers weren't right.
Really?
Yeah, for salaries.
We're
I just-
correct for our in-house ones?
Right,
I'm thinking
because
she
like the
was
state's
using,
attorney's office was low.
she was using the
What
salary
actually
study
is.
that was done by the association for 2022 wages.
But she said she was actually
So-
using our 2022 wages, which for the 2022 is when we gave the big raise.
Right.
And that wasn't reflected on
Hmm.
the, and this was just, you know, I was just looking at
Oh,
the
quick
tracker on my
enough.
phone, so I didn't go through it
Yeah.
hard.
So we need to
And-
update.
And
Oh,
I would
definitely.
say it's still like, we're still probably in roughly the same
Mhm.
position, because I know that last year when we were talking wages at district meeting, the other counties were bumping them way up too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think we're all still kind of in the same boat. Because the wages that I looked at for the deputy auditor position were all 2024 wages.
Mhm.
I reached out to all the counties to get their current.
Yeah, and the deputy assessor could earn $2 an hour more by going to work at Walmart. That's kind of where we are. And
But I thought we reflected that. That's why I was, I mean, if you're referring to the intern's report,
no,
that's actually what we're paying now.
current.
Cause I thought that 12% raise fixed that.
Apparently not, because I think everybody else raised that
Mhm.
too.
Yep. And you know, we're in a very unusual economy where labor has been super tight. And I think what counties have been doing is looking at their labor market, not just at other counties. And they've been looking at places like Walmart that have started paying over $20 an hour to attract employees. Whoop. So they've raised their wages. Well, we have the same problem, right? When a skilled deputy can go to Walmart and earn more money, we need to think about what we're doing. And it's a tight labor market. I mean, that's the problem. It's a macro problem.
I think if I were in the labor market though, and I were comparing what I'm doing at the auditor's office versus what I do at
Mhm.
Walmart, I'd let them have the money.
Yeah. And that's why we have the staff we do,
Yeah.
because they care.
No, I mean. I
About what
would
they're
let-
doing.
If they wanted to go to Walmart for $1 more, let them. So I don't think, most people wouldn't choose the Walmart job, I don't think. I'm probably wrong there, but that's an individual deal, but person by person, but you gotta to really compare the work environment and the skills involved, and I think the work environment gets to be very important.
Mhm.
And working weekends.
Yeah,
Carrie, can we get a printout of salaries, hourly wages of what current employees are making?
That'd be really good.
And
Really
send that over
helpful.
to you guys right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on budget and payrolls? All right, Clay County Park,
Nothing new.
okay. Building? Anything new on building projects?
Yeah, there's one thing that we're kicking around. And is anybody familiar what space savers are? So it's for the evidence room at the jail for the county, because the city's got to make their own decision on theirs. It apparently, what you crank the handle and the shelves
Okay.
work around. I
Like
can't.
they
I
have in
can't pick it.
libraries or archives sometimes.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, where you also have like one walkway between the shelves, and so you can make that walkway wherever you want and everything can be packed in solid, so, okay.
Yep, so. To do the room is $80,000. Andy said right now, with the evidence we have, we're only gonna fill a third of the room. We have the money, that's not an issue, because we're under budget, which is good. My only concern is I was thinking about, and we're gonna discuss it again Wednesday. When the time comes, whatever day that is, in the future. They have to move all that evidence out if they want to put this in, and then it's like chain of custody type thing,
What's the cost on the space saver?
80,000.
Oh, that's 80,000, okay.
Yep.
All right.
We're gonna pour the floor no matter what, so it's ready if that day ever comes, because the concrete's gotta be thicker. Which is minimal, it's only 2 inches more. That's the only thing we're kicking around.
What does Andy think? Maybe Andy's on.
I think that, in the short term, the static shelving where you'd have an aisle between each shelf would serve us, probably for several years. As Travis mentioned, changing is gonna be a large project because we'll have to maintain chain of custody for all of these evidence items. We can't have construction workers coming into the evidence room working So that means evidence items probably have to be moved out to be able to bring someone in to do this. It'd be very disruptive. And probably more expensive because, you know, everything gets more expensive with time. And retrofitting it in later would cost a lot more than it would cost today. Again, it's more storage than we need right now, but we're building this building for the future. And we don't know what the future might be. For example, we might see some legislation or some case law that would require evidence items for certain felonies to be kept for some extended period beyond what we do now. And a change like that might really impact our evidence storage. So we just don't know what the future holds for us. And I think I agree with Travis that if we have the funding now to plan for the future, it's been said quite a few times in our conversations, future-proofing the building. And having this done now would be far preferential than to do it in the future, where it'd be disruptive and way more expensive. So Police Chief Brady has been talking to the city manager about this same thing. He agrees that it's reasonable to consider this now. Of course, he'd like to compare that cost of the high density storage against the static shelving, which is, it's going to be remarkably different. Static shelving's cheap compared to these, but then you have what you have, and you also lose a lot of floor space to aisles. So it's the way to go if we can afford it, really.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's already in the budget.
Well, this is on the wants list. I mean, we've done the needs list now. And what I've asked them to, you know, think about what else is on that wants
Yeah.
list, and they haven't come up with anything. This is the one thing would be tough to add. Yeah. I mean, $80,000 would be cheap if it costs those guys a case.
I did evidence management before they had evidence managers. When I worked at the PD, I took care of the city's evidence room. It would be wonderful to have that type of system. I mean, for chain of command, for control of evidence. Because before it was anybody could walk in the room. So, no, I think do it now.
I think my main question would be what you alluded to is that if this is on the wants list, then this is a trade-off between some other want, maybe, but if there isn't anything else that you guys.
They
feel
weren't
is
able to come up with anything.
as valuable as this, then that seems like a sensible decision. Yep.
It seems like
And it
we,
doesn't hinge on what the city does, because they're two separate rooms.
No, okay.
So,
so it sounds like we got a consensus. with
Yeah.
that.
I think it's a
Okay.
good idea.
Mhm.
and they were gonna look into it. We have a meeting tomorrow. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about it. They were gonna look into it. I don't know if we'll have the number tomorrow yet or not. I think 80,000 was the ballpark,
Sounds reasonable.
because it kind of, a year ago, it got thrown out because we were trying to keep under budget.
Mhm.
So,
And the city and the county's evidence storage is separate, is that? what
yeah,
you
they're
just
two
said?
separate rooms.
Two separate rooms, okay. All right.
Excellent. All right. Anything on joint jurisdiction?
No.
No. Need for executive session,
Yep, personnel.
personnel, okay. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Do we need any legal counsel for any of this, or?
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
So.
Bye-bye.
Did we do anything illegal? No, thank goodness.
Caitlin, do you have your fob?
So the question is whether we can vote on that this week because it's not on the agenda.
This is an
Because it
administrative.
was in executive session, I think you can come out and take action.
I think falls into its administrative role of the three roles that this board takes. And I would think that we should be able to make that administrative decision at this time.
Okay. Fair enough.
Having been a student, you're the professor.
But I was not a professor of rules. Okay, of legislative rules. So
Move to come out of executive session?
Second.
it's a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then, is there a motion to, change the,
I'll make a motion to increase Lisa Wood's salary $6 an hour retroactive back to May 1st.
okay,
Second.
there's a motion and a second.
And you want to fill in the reasoning?
Yeah, we want to make sure we
Yeah.
get that in there in
So,
the
so
correct
this
structure.
is, this does not change the wage structure. It is a premium paid to, this particular job incumbent, because, she, of the additional duties that she performs for the county, including EMT work. She's actually doing blood testing now. She's, doing, blood pressure screenings. So
CPR
she's-
trainings.
Yep, so she's added a good deal to her job description. It's not expected that if another individual took this position, that individual would be expected to perform all of these duties. And so this is a premium in recognition of, the extraordinary extra responsibility that this individual takes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business?
Move to adjourn.
There's a
Second.
motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.